Viewers, before we dive in, drop your location and the local time in the comments. It's always fun to see where this story lands around the world. Now picture this. A sweltering July afternoon, moving boxes stacked like a warehouse sale in the living room, and Michael and his wife Melanie dripping sweat from carrying a couch through a too narrow doorway. That's when a figure appears striding down the sidewalk in a full blazer and slacks like she's auditioning for a 1990s law firm commercial. 95 degrees, and this woman looks like she ironed her outfit with the heat of her own stubbornness. Her name barked like a military rank, "I'm Tina Foster, HOA president." She's holding a binder the size of a dictionary and a tape measure hanging from her belt, the Suburban Excalibur. Tina announces she's here for a mandatory compliance inspection. Michael almost drops the couch. Melanie doesn't flinch. She simply says, "Not today." We're still unpacking. She even closes the door softly like you'd do with a pushy magazine salesman. It's polite, but it's also the first shot of war. Tina takes it as rebellion. For 10 solid minutes, she presses the doorbell like a caffeinated woodpecker while Melanie makes phone calls inside as calmly as if she were ordering office supplies. Michael's sweating bullets peeking through the curtains, wondering if they just offended suburban royalty. But his wife, she's unbothered, sipping water like this is all beneath her. And that's what unsettles him. She's too calm, almost practiced. Historians still argue whether this moment marks the official start of the Great Door Siege or if it was merely a prologue to Tina's spiral. The next day, Michael finds a handwritten final notice taped to the door: mandatory inspection within 24 hours or penalties will escalate. The writing is jagged, furious, like someone's hand was vibrating with rage. He shows it to Melanie over coffee. She just crumples it up and tosses it in the trash. When Michael nervously asks, "She can't force entry, right?" Melanie looks at him with eyes that are far too steady and says, "There's something about my job I haven't told you." Over the following days, Tina returns with pounding fists, a bullhorn, and threats printed on knockoff government letterhead. The neighbors peek out their blinds. A teenager named Lucas even starts narrating it into his camera, calling it Day 3 of Door-Pounding Lady. To him, it's comedy gold. To Michael, it's psychological warfare. But Melanie, she's a stone statue answering calls about complaint backlogs and telling her husband, "I don't answer to harassers." The phrasing makes him shiver. Who actually talks like that unless they're used to commanding authority over dangerous people? And while Tina escalates to flyers accusing them of suspicious resistance, Melanie finally makes a quiet phone call of her own. It's Hayes. "We may need intervention." Hayes Michael thought her last name was Johnson. He's staring at his wife, suddenly realizing he doesn't know the woman he's been married to for 8 years half as well as he thought. By day 4, the neighborhood looks like a low-budget reality show set. Flyers plastered on mailboxes scream about dangerous residents refusing door access. Tina's megaphone routines echo like bad karaoke, and Michael feels like he's starring in a parody sketch no one warned him about. Then, at exactly 7:20 a.m., the climax arrives, flashing lights and sirens pulling into the cul-de-sac. Michael's heart sinks. Tina struts out of her house in yet another full suit, clutching a folder labeled Evidence as if she's about to prosecute Watergate. She waves her arms dramatically at the officer, insisting her neighbors are harboring illegal activity because they won't answer their door. The young cop listens politely, jotting notes, though historians still argue whether his pen was actually moving or if he was doodling just to keep a straight face. Michael grips the window frame, torn between running outside to defend his wife or hiding under the couch, but then Melanie steps out. No blazer, no power suit, just jeans, a t-shirt, and the kind of calm walk that says she's done this dance before. The officer greets her and she explains with steady composure she's been demanding entry to my home and won't take no for an answer. Then, with a small motion, Melanie flips open her wallet and shows her ID. The air changes. The officer stiffens like a soldier hearing reveille. His voice cracks. "Chief Hayes." In that instant, Michael nearly falls over. His wife, the supposed consultant, is actually the newly appointed police chief. Tina's face drains of color so fast it could have powered a blackout. She sputters, "Chief, you can't be." But the officer interrupts, "Ma'am, refusing door access isn't a crime. The HOA cannot override the Fourth Amendment." Neighbors begin to gather, drawn by the patrol car and the earlier megaphone antics. Lucas, bless his teenage filmmaker soul, whispers into his camera, like David Attenborough, "Observe the HOA." Karen, in her natural habitat, discovering her prey is actually an apex predator. Michael finally stumbles outside, stunned, blurting, "What, you're a police chief?" Melanie gives him a wry smile. "Surprise, honey, we need to talk." The officer handles Tina with textbook patience, explaining in small words that 911 is not a complaint hotline for door etiquette. Tina, however, is already unraveling, backing away with her evidence folder clutched like a life preserver. The neighbors snicker. Someone mutters, "She called the cops because Melanie wouldn't answer the door." And with that, the Karen legend spreads like wildfire. By nightfall, Lucas's edited footage of the standoff hits the internet. Title: HOA Karen versus Police Chief Epic Fail. Within hours, the clip racks up views, turning their sleepy street into a trending topic. Michael scrolls through comments, half amused, half horrified, as strangers worldwide debate the absurdity. Some laugh at Tina's theatrics. Others praise Melanie's calm authority. A few conspiracy buffs even claim it was staged by Hollywood. But Michael knows better. He's living it. Inside the house, though, another storm brews. Melanie receives a call from an unknown number. For the first time since moving in, her confident exterior falters. She whispers, "He shouldn't have this number." Her hands tremble before she silences the phone. Michael stares. If a woman who faced down a bullhorn-wielding neighbor without blinking looks this shaken, then something much darker than HOA drama is lurking beneath the surface. The fallout from Tina's humiliation spreads faster than a middle school rumor. Her dramatic evidence folders and shrieking outbursts become viral memes, and overnight she transforms from feared neighborhood tyrant into the internet's newest cautionary tale. But Michael can't relax. He notices lights burning in Tina's house all night, her silhouette pacing like a restless storm. Desperate people, Melanie reminds him, can be dangerous. Tina doubles down, renting the community center for a so-called emergency HOA meeting. She arrives early, dressed in a shoulder-padded power suit that looks like it could deflect traffic, arranging poster boards and projectors with the manic energy of someone rehearsing a TED Talk about UFOs. Neighbors file in, buzzing with curiosity. Michael carries a box of evidence while Melanie calmly holds a thin manila folder. Tina launches her presentation with the pomp of a courtroom prosecutor. "Tonight I present irrefutable proof of police corruption." She clicks through slides, photos of their front door, red arrows pointing at nothing, timelines scribbled like a conspiracy blog. She even accuses Melanie of patterned evasive behavior, citing pseudo-psychology copied from the internet. Historians still argue whether this was incompetence or performance art. Then Lucas, our teenage documentarian, stands up. "That's not true. I have real footage." His smartphone plays Tina's door-pounding megaphone rants and fake notices. The crowd gasps. Michael seizes the moment, placing Tina's forged documents under the projector. Fake fines, phony signatures, fabricated regulations. Melanie steps forward, her voice calm, recounting the meth lab explosion years ago when she carried teenagers, including one named Danny, out of a burning building. Tina shrieks, "Lies! My son told me nothing of that." But Melanie simply lifts her phone. "Shall I call Danny Harris right now?" The name drops like a bomb. Tina's composure shatters. The board removes her unanimously. She stumbles out, dragging her poster boards like a defeated general retreating from battle. Lucas captures every second, uploading the climax that pushes his video past 1 million views before sunrise. Yet the most profound twist arrives later during a phone call that softens even Michael's skeptical heart. Danny himself reaches out. He's been sober 5 years with a family and steady job and wants to thank Melanie for saving his life. His voice is steady but emotional. Mom never knew the truth. You gave me the second chance. In the background, Tina's broken voice whispers, I didn't know. I thought they hurt you. For once, the formidable Karen sounds small. Grace settles over the moment. Melanie replies gently, Mrs. Foster, your son is alive because officers like me run toward danger. Silence stretches heavy but healing. Within a week, Tina sells her house at a steep loss and flees to Florida, where rumor has it she was ejected from her very first HOA meeting for brandishing a measuring tape. Some people never learn. Life in Greenfield changes. Neighbors rally around Melanie, children ask for badge stickers, and Lucas wins a film award for his documentary Measuring Madness. At a renewal of vows in the park, Danny arrives with his family to finally thank Melanie in person. Michael watches them embrace, realizing his quiet wife had carried not just a badge, but the weight of lives saved and secrets kept. And so the neighborhood that once trembled at Tina's clipboard now laughs at her legend. Justice, it turns out, doesn't always come with sirens. Sometimes it comes with calm words, forged papers exposed, and a reminder never to underestimate the quiet neighbor next door. And now, as the laughter fades and the headlines drift into yesterday's news, let the story settle like evening light on a calm street. Imagine the park where children once shouted Karen. Karen now quiet, the same grass carrying the sound of crickets instead of bullhorns. Melanie, the woman who kept her secret for so long, finally breathes without the weight of deception, her husband by her side, their neighbors closer than ever. The lesson lingers gently. Authority misused may burn bright for a season, but it flickers out when faced with truth. Real authority is quiet, patient, and rarely needs to shout. Tina's house stands empty, a shell of bravado and broken posters, while the rest of the community learns to smile at each other a little more. Perhaps even laugh when they remember the day a measuring tape became a punchline. So close your eyes with the thought that justice does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers, sometimes it chuckles, and sometimes it simply stands firm with a badge in its pocket and a steady gaze that says enough. May your night be free of door pounders, your mornings filled with peace, and your neighbors kinder than the one who mistook authority for power. Sleep well, friends.